10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. The Kartcenter Campillos, it's a three-way track, and everyone.
Hola, mi amigos. Welcome back to the Karting Campillos Karting Center, just in the south of Spain, not far from the city of Malaga. And we are here for the Campillos 30 hours. It is the toughest endurance race in Europe and definitely the toughest karting endurance race that any of these drivers have ever taken on so far. It's the 5th edition of the event and we are currently at the end of the first 5 hours of competition. So we're not even a fifth of the way through at this point. It's very tough out there. Fortunately, the rain and the drizzle that we had at the start of the day has now completely dissipated to be replaced by the sunny skies and the drainage of the circuit that has made it bone dry once again. So our lap times are back to where we expected them to be in the bone dry conditions. At this stage of the race, it is the two Erez teams, the Erez Sport and Erez Pro operations, that are currently first and second. They've been getting themselves into a very decent rhythm through the course of the last couple of hours. And in third position behind them, the Paquetes drivers teams that were the second best team of 2022. So it's about what we were expecting. However, there's still a long way to go and a lot can change. Let's walk our way through the paddock here with all of the teams that have come from far and wide. We have the two Spanish teams from Emilia and Yaramafan getting themselves together. It's all pretty quiet at the Western Front at the moment for them, but we have the teams as well from the Czech Republic on the Throfsan's friend car team, and behind us we have BKRT all the way from Belgium, the Full Gas by BKR team and the BKR team themselves doing a fantastic job, still keeping themselves up in the rhythm at the time being, and obviously having travelled all the way from Belgium, a lot to expect from them. EDK Endurance, they know the circuit very well and they know the race flow very well as well. But then we also have the team from KST1 and TFD, the French organisations, putting in a good show. These teams have actually been the leading team in Master for most of the first 5 hours, so they've definitely got themselves a good shot. In fact, not only are they competing for the leading position in the Master category, they've actually been near the top 10 for most of that first few hours. So very good to see. PLK Sport and PLK Endurance, the Spanish outfits, they know the circuit very well as well, so they've obviously got a good bit of experience to come into it, as too have the team from MRT Motorsport and Atomize Your Life. These guys have been working very hard indeed to get themselves up the general ranks in their general classification, and they're still putting on a good show. For the moment, it's still drinks and smiles. By the time we get to the nighttime phase, well, things could very much change. The British teams have been doing a very fair job. The AA, who appear to have been conspicuous by their absence, they're probably out rescuing somebody. And the Northwest Karting team, with their fantastic band of men and women doing a fantastic job, still trying to climb the ranks. It's not been an easy start for them. They've taken a couple of penalties here and there, but they're not giving up. They are still pushing on, and they'll make a good recovery, particularly in the nighttime stage. I think that's when they'll really come good. The teams from Switzerland, the Erez and Erez Master Racing teams, still giving us plenty to talk about, and they're continually, steadily rising up the ranks, still with some good pace to come, especially when we get again into the evening phase. That's when they're really going to come good. You can see that people are starting to get a little bit chilled and relaxed over at San Bernardo and of course at Celta as well. Expect many more scenes like this. You've got to feel for this poor man down here. He's obviously done a lot of hard work in the early part of the race, but I guarantee you there's going to be a few more shots like that over the course of the next 24 hours or so. Do not expect these guys to be sleeping on the job without cause. Team Stark, all the way from Denmark, putting on a very good show over the course of the race so far, and it's good to see that they are still giving us plenty to talk about and plenty to discuss. But they're not the only team from Denmark. We also have the guys from Sally's, crew number 1 and crew number 2, and their sister team behind them as well, FH Auto. So the Danish teams definitely come here to fight fit. They are working very hard indeed, still knocking on the door of the top 5 all the way through the first phase of the race. And as we get further into the race and teams are going to start making mistakes here and there, it's squads like the Danes that are going to really pick up on the pieces. The Belgian team from Mamde Karting, they've been there for the majority of the time, and also the team from Germany, Grise Racing, are going to be there or thereabouts as well, putting in a good show. So expect them to continue to give us plenty of exciting things to talk about. We talked about Sally's, we talked about FH Auto, we talked about Team Stark, but also the team from Acing Auto Racing. They've got 2 teams. They have the Pro team and they have the Old Boys team as well. So going for a podium finish across both categories, the General and Master. So expect them to be fighting fit and pushing on for it. Then, of course, we have the team from Belarus. They have 2 crews, the WRW squad for 1 and number 2, and they're going to be pushing on all the way through the course of the week as well. They've done a lot of hard work, a lot of testing laps, so they've come into this with a lot of focus to try and work their way up the rankings. The Moldovans pushing on very hard as well for Mold Racing Sport and for Mold Racing, both wanting to give a very good showcase to the race itself. And I have to say, one of the things I do like about this operation is the drivers are very evenly matched in terms of one lap pace between them. That's really going to help coming into the nighttime phase in particular. Then we have the squad from Benekarts. Obviously they know the kart and they know the circuit very well indeed, so that's going to help them out. I have to say, one of the things I like is that we did have 42 teams. We now have 40, so there's 1 or 2 spare awnings. I noticed that 1 or 2 of the empty awnings are now being used as general storage for everybody. So what used to be a very nice 9-seater car has now just become a huge bed with wheels on it. So all of the seats have now taken residence elsewhere. Hi guys, good to see you. We also have the team from Croatia. They are getting themselves ready for an exciting showcase. They had a really good run at the start of the race, right up there in the top 3, top 4. And they're still very much in the hunt to go for the victory. Expect them to really start to push on in terms of their general one-lap pace. We've also got the team from Track Limits. They have 2 squads, actually. We have the team from France and we have the team from Portugal. They're going to be working very hard indeed to continue working their way up the general classification. And their strategy looks to be pretty solid and smooth at this time. Also from Portugal, we have the Asphalt Knights. They were up in the front end of the field, right in the top 3 in the first hour. So these guys definitely expect them to continue to make their big push forward. And then, of course, we have the team from DTS as well, the Spanish crew. They are still right there, knocking on the door of the top 10. It's going to be a very strong run from them as they continue to move forward. But at the very edge of the pits, the 2 teams that are currently in first and second place, Eris Sport and Eris Pro. These guys have got a general strategy going well for them. There's actually 2 laps between the 2 karts at the moment, but the team are absolutely determined. They're going to make it a second win in a row for them. They did a great job in 2022, and they want to keep up that pace in the 2023 season. So come and join us as we walk our way over towards the pit stop procedures. It's been quite creative and quite fluid watching these pit stop procedures, and it's a very unique take on how pit stops will work in an endurance karting event. I've done a lot of these now, be it here in Europe or out in the United States or in the United Arab Emirates, even into Asia, and it's a very unique style of endurance racing, particularly with regard to pit stops and driver changes. It really is quite a unique method that we've gone for with the 30 hours, and I think you'll find it not only makes it very easy in terms of the logistical challenge, but it makes it very easy and fair in terms of the different teams taking part. So when you're coming in for a driver change, you make your way over to this particular part of the pit lane, where the drivers, as you can see, are all getting themselves lined up and read out to position. You can see that they have the ballast tray, where they will obviously collect the relevant ballast that they need. 3 different colours, blue, red and yellow, denoting the different types of weight that they will carry into the cart. And then, of course, if they make note of the fact that they're going to be making a driver change, we have a special digi-screen here that lets the driver know, right, you're green, which means you can now head over to your cart. If it's red, then obviously you're just waiting in the holding area in position. If it goes yellow, then that means stand by because your cart is coming in. So it gives you the chance to be nice and alert so that you know. So let's follow in with the guys at this particular crew as they get themselves ready for the start of their pit stop. We may have to go a little bit fast forward. I tell you what, let's do that. Otherwise you're going to be here for quite a while. But as you can see, you've got one driver coming off the cart. He brings it in and puts the weight back into the ballast trolley. That's his stint nice and done. They're happy with that. Another driver coming over to take over the cart. And the number 6 crew is going to get ready again. So you see, now we've got the 24, the blue light comes on, and he's going to get himself weighed just to make sure that he is correct in terms of his weight ballast. He obviously has to make sure that he's in the correct position as he gets himself together and ready. Now it's interesting, the driver's just been instructed he obviously has to go along the arrowed line over to his cart. So let's come over with him and we'll get a bit of an indication. Oh, my apologies. All of the drivers trying to get into the cart at the right time as well. And this is where you've got a very busy squabble of carts. Now you've got the 2 drivers that have just brought their carts into the pits at the far end. Good to see them coming in. But we also have a fleet of 12 sat here in pit lane ready to go. So that means that there are 40 carts on track and 12 carts in pit lane all the time. And that means that every single team has to change cart as well as change driver. And that means, again, that it just evens up the playing field a little bit for everybody. So now, interestingly, we had a driver there make a big mistake as he went out of the pits. Now, let me show you with the next cart that should come through. We're going to get ourselves into this position here so that we can observe what's going to happen. Now, a driver's just made a big mistake when he got into the cart. Now, watch again with the second cart as it comes through. 41 comes through, and look, he puts his arm against the little sensor here, and it triggers a green light. When the green light goes, that's when you know you've come through. The previous driver didn't do that, so any moment now, expect the driver to come through, and he will either get himself a penalty for not doing so, or he'll come back and do it last moment, because obviously he didn't get himself checked with his wristband on the way through. And that's just so that you know that you've gone through the pit stop procedure correctly. If you don't do that, you will incur a penalty. So the kart in question, I think it's the number 24, they're going to be in big trouble if that driver doesn't come back and do that in the next, well, 12 seconds or so. So a problem for that particular team. But it's great. I love this sort of the play of having the different karts here waiting, these 12 karts in rotation. And spare a thought for these mechanics as well. These guys, these engineers, have been at it all the way through the week, making sure that the karts disparity from the slowest to the fastest is as low as it possibly can. They've all got to run and built to run equal. They've got to have tyres refreshed before the start of the race. So everybody's on as fresh a set of tyres as they possibly can for the 30 hours. And these guys have been working so hard to ensure that every kart is engineered and run exactly the same way, so that no matter what kind of kart you come into the pits with, you're going to go out in a very different kart, yes, but one that is as close to the one you got out of as humanly possible. And that's the same for every team. You often get this part of the race where people are like, well, yeah, but I had a bad kart. Yeah, but I had a difficult kart. But every team is in the boat where they will have a kart where they don't necessarily feel as quick as they did before. So every team has the same problem. And that makes it as even and competitive as possible. Every team knows what they sign up for. It's a great way to go racing in an endurance event, particularly considering that it's a 30-hour race. So every team gets a little bit of everything, and that makes it ultra competitive. So we'll head up into the commentary box. We'll chat to a couple of the people when they come and join me. But we're deep into the action in the Karting Campillos, 30 hours. We're back into the action then for the 30 hours of Kartcenter Campillos. This is a fabulous race. We have got just over 24 hours still to go in the running. It's a fabulous battle that we have in front of us. I'm Jake Santon. I'm actually joined in the box by John Del Valle from the Piquetes drivers team. John, fantastic start to the race for you guys. You were right up in the top three from the start. So how has the strategy been faring from your side?
Yeah, at the beginning of the race it was really hard to race because it's wet on the track. It was really slippery. It's really important to don't go off track, obviously. we just make 2 or 3 pit stops in the wet because you gain some advantage with that. It's like a virtual safety car in the Formula 1. Then it goes perfectly. We are right now P1 virtually, and there is asphalt nights behind us. I think 5 seconds behind us. It will be great.
So considering that there are a few teams in front of you that have pitted less, when everything comes back together, you guys are going to basically be in the fight for the top 3 again, because you guys are currently P6. But as you say, by taking the pit stop under the wet conditions, you actually lose less time in the overall scheme of things. Yeah,
when you pit in the wet track, it's like 40 seconds slower per lap. Then if you do a pit stop in the wet and a pit stop in the dry, you gain 40 seconds per pit stop. Then it's good. We are now in P6, but we are the first with 7 pit stops. Then we are first virtually, and let's see how it goes.
So in terms of the overall strategy then, looking at how long you can keep the drivers out there over the course of the remaining 24 hours, 45 minutes, are you guys able to run to plan at the moment?
Yeah, we are okay with our plan. We don't have maybe right now so much pit stops to do because maybe it rains in 2 hours or 3 hours more or less. Then we need to take pit stops for the rain. But everything is on the plan. We are okay. The cars are okay. Then let's go push and try to make the pace.
Now, yesterday I went out onto the circuit in the dry conditions. It's a very fast circuit, this one, under the dry. What is it actually like in the wet conditions by comparison? Because in terms of the lap speed, like you said, there's 40 seconds difference in the dry compared to the wet. But you guys are there in these same karts on the slick tyres. I mean, how difficult is it to drive those karts in the wet?
It's crazy. It's so difficult to brake on this track because it's too many uphills, downhills, and when you don't have maybe too much grip, it's really hard to stop the car, and then you need to brake really early into the corner. Then you need to be really patient with your braking point and just wait for the momentum to turn the car. Then it's so fun. I like so much this track on wet.
I noticed as well when you're actually in the kart and you're driving, particularly in the dry, these karts are actually prone to understeer quite a lot. So how do you actually combat that when you're in the kart?
Yeah, it's really important when you have no steering with the kart. You need to brake a little bit more, because if you don't brake, you just goes for more understeer. You will not turn into the corner. Maybe you go off the line, and you need to brake early. Try to make a slow speed at the apex to gain advantage with the steering wheel.
It's fascinating because I noticed as well in the wet conditions earlier today that there were about 3 different variations of racing line that drivers were doing. You get a few drivers that would run straight across curbs, others would literally hang the outside of the circuit, and some would just commit to the racing line. How come there is such a big difference? Is it all down to feel, or is it down to confidence?
I think it's in the wet track you have a lot of variations in your driving style. You can go maybe going aggressive in the entry, but slow in the outside in the out of the corner. I think there's still just one fastest line. It's only one fast line, but you can go fast too with maybe another type of another style of driving. But it's really important to go off the racing line on dry, on dry, because there is a lot of rubber. If you go on the rubber and wet, obviously you lose your grip. Then you need to go from the outside of the corners.
The other thing I'm really looking forward to about this race is when we get to 1 a.m. and everything is neutralized and we go from clockwise radius of direction to the counterclockwise. Now, you were in the practice sessions these last couple of days. You've driven both variations of the circuit. First of all, which is more fun? And secondly, which is the easier to drive?
Yeah, obviously, I think the easier to drive is the normal. because it's all long straights, full gas all the time. But in the reverse, you need to brake so much. It's really slow direction. Because you go uphill with low speed, then you need to make really good the corners to gain maybe 1 kilometer per hour on the uphill, and it makes so much different between drivers in the reverse. Then I think for us it's better the reverse, because we were racing here for 5 years. This is our fifth year here, and we always like a lot the reverse track. It's so fun to drive.
So considering that they are so different, I mean, is there essentially going to be a team that wins in the first 15 hours and then another team that wins in the 15 hours after counterclockwise? Is it kind of two completely different races?
Yeah, always, all the years. You will see this year probably as teams are going fast in this way, but when they go to reverse, probably they lose time, or the opposite. Maybe one team is in the middle of the race, but during the reverse they go up. They are fast. Then I think all the drivers are taking the best drivers in reverse are not now in the track probably. Then will be so fun when we change the side.
So I guess that really comes into play then in terms of the tactical strategy of when to use a particular driver, when to use a particular team play within the strategy. And you guys, are you having to be creative during the race to change things a little bit with the drivers, or do you find you can keep it pretty much to what you planned?
Yeah, we are on plan. We are not making mistakes. We are nothing different that we planned. Then we are okay right now. We would just go in for the maximum stint right now, 1 hour and 50 minutes, and just going for the race. And let's see what happens when we change the direction.
Now, I know certain teams, when it comes to endurance races, that they don't really think the race is going to start for them until maybe 3 hours to go. You're not really in the race until there's 3 hours to go. How do you guys, as a team, and how do you as a driver feel about that? Is that really how you're feeling? You're in the race, yes, you're in the top 6, but it's not really going to get serious maybe until we get to like 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock tomorrow?
Yeah, endurance race is a little bit different than the sprint race, obviously. In the endurance, you need to be fast at the moment. I mean, if you are 2 tenths, 3 tenths faster than your rival, you are okay. You are fighting for that. Maybe you are not fighting in the track. It's not good if you are overtaking, doing mistakes and everything. You have 24 hours less. Then you need to just go for the pace. Try to be the fastest on the track every hour that you are in the track, and probably when it's 3 hours remaining, probably we will see overtakes and we will see more sprint races there.
And you also said, that in a couple of hours you think there's going to be some more rain coming down. Now, you know this place a lot better than maybe some of the other teams, and certainly a lot better than I do. How tough does it get here when it rains? Because obviously we didn't really see much of that. We only saw the start of the race, what had happened when it had already rained. So how difficult is it to then go from a dry circuit to a getting wetter circuit to a fully wet? How difficult is that transition?
It's really hard, because you need to know every moment how much rain is on the track, how much wet is the track, because you probably, if you brake like in a dry conditions, you go out from one lap to the next one, you go out of the circuit. Then it's really hard to know when you need to brake, when you need to turn, when you need to accelerate. That's make the best drivers go fastest, because they know every time how is the track, how they can brake, how they can accelerate, and that's the best moment, I think, for the drivers.
So you started the race, you were there in the top 3 positions, you were second place last year. How confident are you guys that you still have the good pace, the good tactics, the good strategy to go for the win? How confident are you guys?
We are so we know we can fight for the win. Obviously, we were in my side. It's my 5th time. For my team, all my team is the 3rd time. Then we have second, and I hope this year we can win. Obviously, the pace is here. My teammates are awesome. We are really talented guys on my team. I'm pretty sure, and we are just waiting for the reverse side.
Fantastic. Well, you guys are doing a great job. You're right up there in the hunt. I think you have a really good shot. So thank you very much. Muchas gracias. Thank you very much for talking to us, John Del Val.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, man.
So we have got ourselves a really exciting battle as we continue on. John's got to get back to the pits, so thank you very much indeed. There is still a really intense continuation of this race to go. As you can see, we've got a mixture of great speed and really interesting, intricate battles going on out there on the course as things are all ready to continue on. So we're very excited for how things are going to continue on here at Kartcenter Campillos. Well, as it is an endurance race, and obviously we're going to be here for a full grand total of 30 hours. The race doesn't actually finish until 4 p.m. tomorrow. So we have a lot of guests, a lot of great battles to come, and obviously, considering how tight it is up at the top end of the field at the moment, we've still got the 2 leading crews on the lead lap at the moment, Erez Pro and Erez Sport, and I'm actually joined by Tom Shep, who is part of the Erez operation. They got the victory with one of their teams last year, and they are looking to do so again in 2023. Tom, thank you so much for joining me up in the box. I mean, it's really interesting to get your take on it. So how are things going so far?
Thank you for the invitation. Actually, the race start really well. We are really happy to come at this big event. For us, it's one of the big events of the year, so we are really happy to race here this weekend. It's a long race, 24 hours race, 34 hours race. It's like always 24 hours, and this time 30. Last year we win, so we want to do the same this weekend, and we will see what's happening.
So as a team, when you prepare for a race like this and you know what it's like to do a 6-hour, a 12-hour, a 24-hour, and then you come up to Campillos and you know that it's 30 hours, I mean, how does that change your approach as a team? How do you adjust to that?
Yeah, it's unbelievable because we are lucky all the season we race in 24 hours race, and now it's 34. So we need to program the race differently, because every race we drive in 2 or 3 driver, and here in 34 hours we need to have 4. So we manage different. We need to try to keep the physique nice for all the race, and so before we prepare this race, because the lot of top team are present of this event, so yeah.
Now, a lot of people who'll be watching this, maybe some of them for the first time, they know a lot of things about different forms of motorsport. So they know how Formula 1 works, they know how Le Mans works, they know how IndyCar works. And some of them will watch FIA karting and get a pretty understanding of what karting is. The karting endurance world is completely different to all of that. It's a completely different language of racing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really different. It's endurance race in rental cars, so it's difficult to prepare, because you cannot prepare physically, but I mean, you need to race a lot for keep a lot of experience, and the most important thing is to adapt quickly at the track. And endurance for me, it's teamwork. So it's not like when we race in sprint and you are alone in 20 laps. You know, all the team. We are lucky with our boss Miguel Erez, make a perfect job all the season, and we are lucky to drive for him, because he's one of the good person. I mean, he do what he do for us. He do the best, and we are really lucky in endurance this season. Yeah.
And I guess as well, when you're a team in endurance karting, you know, you don't own your own karts. None of you do. You have to go to the circuit. You are basically racing with what you've given. So as a driver and as a team, as a dynamic, I guess you have to be quite flexible, quite adaptable. Yes. You have to learn to drive in a very versatile way.
And really quickly. Every stint we change the kart. This thing was amazing because it's more equalized. Every team changed the kart and have the possibility to keep the best kart or the medium kart. So you need to adapt really fast on the track, on the condition on the track, and also with your karting. So if you have this experience to manage if you are medium kart and to manage to keep the best of the kart, you can do the difference and make some good result like we do this season.
So because you have the extra 12 karts that are in the pit lane that you can rotate and you never get into the same kart that you got out of, does that make it more of an appeal for you as a team? You know that there's a good chance you'll get a bad car, but you'll also get a good one over the course of the races, and everyone's in the same boat.
Exactly. It's the difference. It's only the driver and the strategy, what you make with your team. And the job of the driver, for me, it's the most important things. And we do the best, and when we jump on the car, we do the best and the maximum for do the best of the kart. And because you know this time maybe we are lucky and we can manage a good stint with the good kart, but the next stint maybe it's more difficult, and it's your job to do a best stint with your kart.
So considering the different types of race that you do all over Europe, and you travel a lot for going and racing in these different things, does it make the win at Campillos slightly bigger because the race is longer, it's tougher, it's a little bit more even in competition?
Not only because it's the bigger race, also because the event was really nice. The organization make an incredible job. Martin worked really hard for organize this event, and every staff make the good job, and the mentality here was really nice. And for me it's one of the big events, and we are really happy to race here this weekend.
I guess from your perspective as a driver, we all have a massive ambitions in racing. We want to race as much as we possibly can, but when you're restricted by budget and you're limited by the competition, the compensation is that you want to make sure that as an event you're feeling like it's worth you being there, it's worth you doing it, and you get that satisfaction. Is that kind of why this is a good one for you?
Yeah, of course. Of course, the budget, it's the kart, the passion was expensive, but if you can select the best event and come here on other big event, you can select the race and reduce the budget for the big event like here this weekend. And I mean, this weekend and really nice, and we are 29 on the race, so really unbelievable this weekend.
Now, what I love about this particular format is that on this circuit being so different, when you do clockwise and counterclockwise, the two different halves of the race, how does that excite you guys? Because it's a completely different, a different chapter of the race altogether.
Exactly, the change of direction for us, it's amazing because new opportunity. It's like you have a new kart for play. So really exciting because you have one restart in midnight. So we wait that, and the other side was more tricky. So we wait the night for if we can do the difference, but we do the best. Also, we have some other team are really strong. John is one of the best driver, and he are at home, and we want to fight with him tonight and all the race. So
I guess the mentality is different as well when you get to that halfway point, because you're having to basically restart the race in a completely different circuit. The overtakes are different, the braking points are different.
All is different,
and it kicks in an adrenaline kick again when you've already been racing for 15 hours, and then that takes its toll again in the second half. It must be so difficult.
we wait this, so it's more adrenaline, but we are on the race actually, so it's just other things. What we it's a new adaptation, and but the restart was unbelievable all the year, and yeah, really nice, and the adaptation it's most important of the other side, so we will see this night.
So as a racing driver, when you're on a circuit like this and you have to switch from the clockwise variation to the counterclockwise, how big a difference is the circuit when you go in a different direction? How big a variation is it?
Difficult to say, because it's like if you race in other track, okay, and you need to change all the things what you do before, and you need, yes, it's all the time like adaptation, and see a new breakpoint, a new line, so it's our job to do the good adaptation on the other side.
It's incredible. I really love the excitement of it. Where are we currently at with the positioning? I mean, you guys have managed to get yourself into a very strong position. You're right there at the start of the race. Is that a security buffer as far as you guys are concerned? Is that like a little bit of security, knowing that things can go wrong, you want to get yourself into as strong a position as early as possible?
Yeah. Not like security, because it's possible to lose a lot if you do a mistake in strategy and if you took some penalty. So you have the gap when the end is finished, when the race is finished. Only that. I mean, for me, when the race is not finished, you have maybe you have one lap on front of the rest. You have not advantage. You need to finish the race and keep your position at the end. So, yeah, because we know that the last year, all the race we have around one lap, and at the last stint, John make a pretty ball job, and he catch him at the 30 seconds. So, anyway, it's a long race, and you need to stay really focused all the time, do no mistake, no penalty, best on strategy, and good on the kart.
It's like you're sweating several times through the race, and it has nothing to do with the weather.
Exactly. And like this morning when the weather, the rain is coming, we never see the track on the raining, so nice. It's really nice for us, because in France we race a lot in rain, so it's a good, also a new adaptation. Right, we have all the condition of this weekend, so amazing for a racing driver.
And we're told that there's a chance that the rain is going to come back again. So how is that going to play into the fact? Yes, you guys are in the lead, but I guess that means you're one of the first that could hit trouble.
Yeah, exactly. We saw, we check all the time the radar with the meteor, so with the weather, and we foresee if something happening, and if we adapt the strategy as well. So it's really difficult with the weather, because when the weather, the raining is coming, you need to decide which strategy is better, and actually some team make one strategy, we decide to take other strategy, so we will see tomorrow if our strategy working or not.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Look, it's really great to get your insight into it, particularly from a team that knows how to win this race and knows how easy it is to let it slip. So it's really good to get your word. Tom Shep, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's been really great to have you in the box, and we wish you all the very best for the rest of the race.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, plenty of racing still to come, as we know, here at the 30 hours of Kartcenter Campillos. It's a very tough race ahead of us, and as we've heard from both Tom Shep and from John Del Valle, there is a very good chance that we may still get rain come back on the circuit once again, and that's definitely going to shake things up. We've already talked about how difficult the rain was in the first part of the race, in the opening stages, how tricky the circuit was for competitors to handle, particularly those teams that have no experience at all of racing on this particular circuit in the wet conditions, which makes it doubly difficult. But the Aeros Sport and Aeros Pro teams currently up in the first two positions and currently looking very strong on it. The gap between them at the moment is about 1 minute 5 seconds, which is just under a lap. With the race circuit here in the dry conditions, you're looking at 123s, 124s for the lap moment in time. The fastest lap out there is currently a 123.7, I do believe, which is from one of the teams in the lower end of the field, although a personal best has just been set by the Mold Racing team and Peter Scheich, who has just done a 124.1. all the way down the field. You can see the pit stop process happening. And this is what we were talking about when the driver gets out of the kart and they take the front plate, the number off, as well as the transponder. That comes with the kart. That comes off the kart, sorry, and that goes with the driver. They take all their ballast out and they get their seat correction over, and then they head over to the holding area where there are 12 identical karts waiting, and they basically get into a completely different kart. It's a complete rotation. So this Sodi fleet, you know, the comparative distance between the individual karts is so close that you don't really know from one kart to the next which one you're going to get into, but at the same time, you know, you get a really even and competitive draw, and that's what makes this race so appealing for the teams that travel from far and wide, because they want to be in a situation, they want to be in a particular kart and in a particular race where you know that everybody's going to be in the same boat. You know everyone's going to have the same advantage, you know everyone's going to have the same disadvantage, and that's what makes this race appealing. Not only that, but the fact that you've got different changes of weather through the course of it. It's a very tough circuit. It's a World Championship race event, this particular circuit. It hosted the World Championships in 2021, where we saw young Japanese driver Kia Nakamura-Berta and young Finn Tukka Tarpanen, who is racing in Formula 4 here today in the country, coming through and battling away. My apologies, they're in Italy this weekend. They're not in Spain. They have been in Spain earlier in the year. But it's incredible when you think that the drivers that have raced on this particular circuit have ended up going on to big things. And this is a tough circuit to get right. Look at this squabble going on out on the circuit. They'll all be in different positions on the road in different laps compared to how many they've actually completed. Let's try and get a relative understanding of the lay of the land as a result of how many pit stops people have made and where things currently are. The driver who is currently in the leading kart is Matteo Agassiz, who is currently in the number 4 kart for the Eris Sport team. They are leading on their 217th lap. Just about a minute and 5 seconds or so behind them is the number 1 kart, the Eris Pro machine, which is the team that won last year. And the current driver behind the wheel trying to keep up with Matteo Agassiz in the number 4 crew. The drivers battling away there. It is Damiano Marquesan who is at the wheel of that particular kart. Then in third position it is the Esching Auto Racing Pro Team from Denmark. It is Jesper Madsen, or Champ, who is currently at the wheel, and his teammates Christian Schumi Jessen, Johan Mr. Saturday Lund, that's an interesting nickname, and Mads MK Kenneth, they're in the kart as well. Should also give a mention to the drivers that are also in the Eris Sport kart that lead the way. The number 4 team made up of Matteo Agassiz, who is currently behind the wheel, Sven Bamberger and Sivert Verfali, as well as Rui Rodriguez. I can also tell you how long they've actually been in the kart as well, thanks to the brilliant stats that we've got on the timing screen here. Matteo Agassiz has been at the wheel for about an hour and 14 minutes or so. Sven Bamberger has done an hour 13 minutes of driving. And Sivert Verfali has done the most of anybody. He did 2 hours and 25 minutes in the wet section of the race. Rui Rodriguez has not yet got behind the wheel of the kart, and that might be down to the fact that, as we said earlier, you know, they might be, as a team, working on strategy to kind of make sure that certain drivers get out at certain times. If you're a better driver on the counterclockwise layout than you are on the clockwise layout, then maybe you rest your driver and get them out at the second half of the race. Into the pits comes the number 1 kart, that is the Eris Pro kart. So into the pits comes Damiano Marquesan, and he will hand over to either Tom Shep, Thomas Gondaminas, or Loic Martin. I have a feeling it's not going to be Tom Shep, Tom Shep, we actually had him in the commentary box a short while ago, so I have a feeling he's not quite going to jump into the kart just yet. It'll be one of his teammates, Thomas Gondaminas or Loic Martin, that gets behind the wheel of that one. Then, of course, we have the Esching Auto Racing Saturday and MK, also known as Jesper Madsen, Christian Jessen, Jörn Lund and Mats Kenneth. The team in 4th position, the team that's currently in 4th position is the team we just heard from as well, the Becates drivers team. We heard from John Del Valle. Juan Sanchez is currently the man at the wheel, and his teammates German Sanchez and Alejandro Ruiz Cabello Perez, they've all been out onto the circuit at certain points in the race so far. The shortest stint by German Sanchez, who's been in the car for just over half an hour, and the longest stint by John Del Valle, who's getting a much needed rest. Then we have the Asphalt Knights, 5th position at the moment, the Portuguese team in kart number 5. They're currently in P5, and it is Luis Fernandez who's currently at the wheel, having had Luis Duarte do 3 hours at the start of the race on his own. We haven't yet seen anything from either Hugo Cavallido or Joao Brites. They will come out a little bit later on. 6th position is the Mold Racing team, all the way from Moldova, and they're doing a fantastic job. The number 14 kart, currently in P6 with Merten Brand at the wheel of the kart. Maurice Cherkanov did an hour 14 earlier in the race. Nicolas Kruger actually did 2 hours 45, and we've yet to see from André Boom, who will get into the kart a little bit later on. Currently in pit lane, we have the BKRT squad from Belgium. Simon Strouwen is the man behind the wheel, having shared that car and still sharing that kart with Maxime Di Matteo, Justine Strouwen, who I think is just getting her way into the kart now, and Alice Noel. So Alice Noel is the other lady driver within the BKR team, and of the mixed gender teams, they are currently the leading squad with 2 men, Simon Strouwen and Maxime Di Matteo, and 2 females, Justine Strouwen and Alice Noel, and they are currently up in 7th position, so great news for them. Then it is the DTS team in the number 3 kart. I say the number 3 kart, but they are actually in the number 3 squad, because of course you change kart every time you make a pit stop, so you're never in the same kart twice. Javier Rodriguez currently at the wheel and only just getting into that kart for the first time, because his teammates Jose Maria Savan Vega, Ricardo Valverde have just managed to have their first stints, but Javier Rodriguez is starting his stint for the very first time. The pit stop for BKRT has dropped them back, so now up to 9th position, now up to 8th position I should say, is the Danish team, Team Stark. Henrik Poulsen is the man who's only just been in that kart very briefly. He's only got into it about 16 minutes ago for his first stint. Klaus Jorgensen, 1 hour and 9 behind the wheel. Victor Sparholt, 2 hours 19, and Karsten Sparholt did 1 hour and 11. The Portuguese team for Track Limits Sport, they've moved up into 9th place as a result of the pit stop rotation. Mathieu Chartier is the man currently behind the wheel, and then we have Julien Valente, Axel Rochard and Edouard Coumont. They've all been at the wheel at various points, so they're all still putting on a good show, and they're just ahead of the sister team, number 7, that is the French Track Limits team. Brian Barre is the one who is currently at the wheel, but his teammates Jose Perez, Julien Pereira and Helmi Hamrouni are currently there in the next rotation as well. They've all had a turn in the kart, and so they're all trying to get themselves into the position as quickly as possible. Then in 11th position we have the CVKS Safar car team. It is currently Juan Jose Cabrera who is at the wheel of that particular machine in 11th position, and his teammates have been in the kart already. Luis Boix, Borja Alonso and Carlos Cosa. The only one who hasn't is Daniel Borezo, who has not yet had his turn at the wheel. 12th position at the moment is the team from TFD, the leading master team as well at this point. Very important to note, that is the team with an average age of 42. So all of the drivers, their average age, I nearly said mental age there, probably is as well, average age of 42, with the youngest driver in the field, with the youngest age that any driver in that team is allowed to be is 25, so you're not allowed to be younger than 25 if you are racing in the master category, and the average age of the team has to be 42 for you to qualify for racing in that particular class. The leading team for that is currently Hugues Mativet. He is driving the number 40 Team TFD kart. His teammates have all had a go at the wheel. Axel Francoeur, Nasser Maclouf, Thierry Angel and Arnaud Duchesne. They've all had their go in the kart at various points. 13th position at the moment is the KST1 general team, number 26. Sebastien Hernandez is the man currently at the wheel, sharing that kart as he is with Laurent Vadier, Michael Hernandez, Arnaud Pilat and Julien Spinelli. So that is the squad from Team KST1, and they are currently in 13th. 14th position is the squad from Benecarts, the Spanish team. Victor Martin is at the wheel at the moment, from Mario Santos, Jorge Ibars, the 2 men who have been at the wheel, and then there are 2 men who haven't yet, Alvaro Segura and Victor Vicente, so we'll see them a little bit later on. Then it's the team from Sally's, the squad all the way from Denmark. 13th is the kart number, 15th is where they currently rank. We've currently got Isaac Jakobsen at the wheel, and the 3 teammates in that kart have all had a turn at some point: Camilla Martinez, Sofas Hansen and Jan Norbert. Then we have the team from Astor Celta Racing, the Spanish team, number 21 in 16th place at the moment. Kevin Matrel is the one who is behind the wheel of the kart, and we're still waiting to hear from Alexis Yanin. But the other 3 drivers for the team, Joan Sebastian Rodriguez, Marcos Cernuda and Cesar Alvarez Garcia, have all been at the wheel at various points. 17th position is the number 16 kart, that is the Griese Racing team from Germany. And at the moment it is Matthias Griese that is currently at the wheel, with Silvan Tomasi, Denon Heutler, Eileen Bauer and Marvin Bauer having all taken places in the kart at some point. Linus Griese has not yet had a turn at the wheel. In 18th place, they were in the top 6 at a certain point. Here is the general ranking overall at this point. Pick your favourite team and driver combination and who you're rooting for, but I'll continue on where we were. In 18th position currently is the number 6, that is the Creatia squad. The Creatia squad with Adrian Garcia at the wheel. Jonathan Crespo was the man who started the race and stayed in for about an hour in total. Diego Perez has had 2 hours 17, and Nelson Desplat, he only had 19 and a half minutes in the wet period of the race. So we'll get to see him out a little bit later on, I'm sure. 19th position in the number 34 squad is the Yaramafan racing team. Francisco Clemente is the man currently driving for that kart, and his teammates Javier Martinez de Alfredo, Eduardo Caballo and Juan Toribio have all had a turn at the wheel. We're still waiting to see the first appearance for Alberto Cortez. Then in 20th position is the team from BKRT. Well, they were a little higher up than that. That's where they've currently filtered into after their pit stop earlier. We've already talked about them. So we'll move on to the team behind them, which is the other Essing Auto Racing squad, the Old Boys in the number 37. They're battling for the Masters honours, and they're currently in third in the category behind, they're second in the category, my apologies. And it's the team of LC, Soes, Rocket, Javi and Logistics. That's their nicknames, of course. Their real names are Jesper Christensen, Sebastian Waage, René Jensen, Michael Have and Peter Anderson. So they are currently running in 21st position. 22nd position, just behind them, is the MRT Motorsport team, the number 35 crew. That is Cristiano Pica, who is at the wheel. Ole Christoph, Isaias Sabian Vega and Juan FCO Esteban Bermudez are the other drivers in that particular team. 23rd at the moment is the team from EDK Endurance. 29 is the kart number they run with, and the current driver behind the wheel is Cristian Lopez. There's still 4 other drivers in the team: Daniel Diaz, Jose Luis Ramal, Boris Martin and Carlos Langreo, and they have all had a turn at the wheel. Then in 24th and 25th position are the 2 teams from Belarus, the WRW number 1 and WRW number 2 karts. Ironically, it's 9 ahead of 10, therefore it's crew 1 ahead of crew 2. Sergei Levkovich, Anton Semazhyaka, Daniel Siako and Artem Vilkovsky. The man behind the wheel at the moment is actually Evgen Dedishka. And then in the second crew, the number 10, which is the WRW2, the man behind the wheel at the moment is Michael Zemskov. And his teammates are Pavel Sobolevsky, Vova Kolesan, Pavel Shutan and Artyom Abakumov, I should say. And all 5 of those drivers have had a turn at the wheel at some stage. 26th position, hello to everybody out in the Czech Republic. A big hello to all of the people at Trenec who are watching along. I know there's many of them. And the current team for the Czech Republic, of course, is the Trotterans Sprint Squad in the Master category. They're currently battling for the honours in the top 3. They're not quite in the top 3 yet because they're behind MRT Motorsport, Essing Auto Racing Old Boys, who are currently in second, and then the leading team is the Team TFD, who are in 12th position, just knocking on the door of the overall top 10. But the Trotterans Sprint team from the Czech Republic, it is currently Petr Goluk, who is at the wheel. And his teammates are Jaromir Maslancik, Martin Pekinek, Petr Finstrel, Ivo Polaszek and Vit Goluk, who all of them have had a turn at the wheel at some point. It looks like they're basically just doing an hour on, an hour off, an hour on, an hour off, and that seems to be the way that works for them. 27th at the moment is the FH Auto team from Denmark, and they have Christian Zingenberg currently at the wheel. They have a 5-driver team though. Finn Hansen, Peter Larsen, Lars Bjarland and Karsten Funk have all managed to get behind the wheel at some point in the race up to this point. The other Moldovan race team, we have the Mold Racing team a little further up the ranks, but then the Mold Racing Sport team are currently in the mix there as well. That is the team which currently has Peter Scheich at the wheel at the moment, and then we have 4 teammates in that kart: Nicholas Harms, Jan Tangerman, Adde Holnagel and Octavian Lungu, and they are together there in 28th position. 29th is the Mamdi karting team from Belgium, number 17. Nicolas Verez is at the wheel. His teammates are Florence Tassar, Roberto Verez and Antoni Verez, so they are doing a fine job at the moment, still staying in the top 30. In 30th, it is the Sally's 2 squad, the master team in the number 36 crew. Rasmus Blom is at the wheel at the moment, and then the 4 of the drivers are Henrik Hansen, Jakob Skallegard, Suna Klemper and Jesper Skallegard. So they are all together in number 30. 31 is the team from Full Gas by BKRT. That is currently Jeremy Massar, who is behind the wheel, and then 4 of the drivers: Tristan Sibyl, Julie Mutui, Loris Voy and Mathieu Dehask. So they are all together there in 31st position. 32nd position at the moment is the team from San Bernardo, So the Go-Kart San Bernardo squad has Alejandro Amas Valeriano in the kart at the moment. His teammates are Ramses Diaz, Jose Evan Baez, Jana Jesus Morales and Ricardo Hernandez. The latter two have not yet been in the kart at any point, so clearly they are going to get them ready for later on in the day. Maybe they'll take on the kart when we go counterclockwise at 1 o'clock in the morning. Yes, I said 1 o'clock in the morning. PLK Endurance, 33rd position. In the number 27, it's Dan Rodriguez, who is currently at the wheel of that kart, and he is sharing it with Mariano Jimenez and Andres Ramos, who have both been in the kart so far. The other two, Michael and Pablo Bejar, have not yet done so. So we'll see from them a little bit later on. Where are the Brits, you ask? Well, they are still in the running, in 23rd position. Number 23, I should say. They're in 34th position. It's not the best start for the Brits, but it's still a long way to go for them. Hendrik Pallian is at the wheel at the moment of the AA team, which is obviously the 5th emergency service, for those who don't know. Reda Farron, James Caruana and Oliver Sylvie are the other drivers in that particular team. Still with a lot of progress to make. Another team with a lot of progress to make is the Ares racing team from Switzerland. They've not had the best of starts, but they're still going to try and fight their way back into contention. 35th position at the moment is the Master racing team. Andy Liu is the one who is currently at the wheel. His teammates Juan Antonio Cancino, Reto Gut and Juan Antonio Oliveira, they are still pounding around. 35th position at the moment. We'll come back to the sister team in a short while. 36th position is the Northwest Karting team, which has literally brought along Bob, Carroll, Dylan, Thomas, every bloody person in the whole of the Northwest racing for that particular team. Currently it's Matthew Williams at the wheel, but the team consisting of 8 drivers, would you believe? There's no restrictions, but they've got the biggest team of anybody here. Tommy Lee, Jacob Sharrock, James Barrett, Ash Candola, Matthew Roberts, Brad Jones, Alex Wentworth, alongside the man currently behind the wheel, and that is Matthew Williams. So the whole of Blighty has basically turned up to racing that one particular team. 37th position, the PLK Sport team from Spain. It is Ame Almagro that is currently at the wheel, and his teammates are Carlos Cordoba, Jose Antonio Fernandez and Pedro Ojeda. They have all been behind the wheel at any point. The other two drivers in the squad, Enrique Valdes and Carlos Modesto, have not yet driven. 38th of the 40 teams then, Ares Racing, really struggling at the moment. They've not had the best of times of it. 20 is the number of kart they race under, the Swiss team in the general classification. It's currently Jose Francisco Gonzalez that is at the wheel of that team kart, and they are joined by Alvaro Araujo, Francisco Jimenez, and the man, the driver I should say, sorry, who is not behind the wheel at this present moment in time, is former FIA karting representative Ekaterina Lucia, who used to be part of the Richard Mill Talent Academy, and she is driving a fantastic job in her car racing career at the moment. She's been doing a lot of GT4 and GT3 racing, but she hasn't got rid of her karting. We say this time and time again about racing drivers. You can take the racing driver out of karting, but you cannot take karting out of the racing driver. They will always come back, one way or another. The number 24 crew in 39th place, that is Optimize Your Life, the Spanish team in the number 24 crew. They've got a very big team as well of 8 drivers. William Peter Dieck is the one who's currently at the wheel, but the teammates are many and plentiful. Nelio Deru, Julio Cañas, Jose Carlos Ropero, Frank Dieck, Paco Panadero and Brandon Lee Oxley in that particular crew, and only Hugh Deru has not yet been behind the wheel of that kart. There is the number 12 coming into the pits. That is Jesper Champ Madsen, who is surrendering second position for the time being. And the only other crew we haven't really talked about at this phase of the race is Amelia Racing, with Jose Ramos currently in 40th position. They're plucky Spanish superb racers. They're not really looking good for getting up into the top 10 anytime soon, but hey, for every winner there's also got to be an underdog. There's got to be a team at the bookend, and for Amelia Racing that is where they currently find themselves. Jose Ramos behind the wheel, and the other 5 drivers within the team have all had a turn at some point. Jorge de Vicente Ruiz, Thomas Quinten, Gillen Barbaro, and then also Manuel Barbaro Guerrero, Manuel Titos and Francisco Ricardo Tello. So they are all together putting on a fantastic show of it, and that is literally a who's who of the 30 hours of Karting Campillos. We've gone through every single team in the ranking. Well done for all of you. I think you'll need some team biscuits ready for the next one. Sorry, some tapas. We are in Campillos after all. So Matteo Agassiz at the front end of the field at the moment in the number 4 kart. That team has only done 4 pit stops at this point in the race, and we are about to complete the first 6 hours of the Kartcenter Campillos 30 hours. So considering we've already had enough race battles out on the circuit to last an entire FIA World Endurance Championship round, now we're going to crowbar a stereotypical 24-hour race onto that. separating it at the 15-hour mark halfway through the race with a very unique challenge for the teams and drivers here, unique to the Kartcenter Campillos 30 hours. At the end of the 15th hour, the pace kart will come out, I believe being driven by Martin Roivers, and it will bunch up the pack. They will go into one long line, and then they'll be guided down the home straight, where they will then loop around and turn around in the opposite direction. So we will finish the race counterclockwise. The first 15 hours are clockwise around the circuit. The second 15 hours are counterclockwise. And the drivers and teams have been telling me it is a completely different race circuit when you race it in reverse. It doesn't feel anything like the other Campillos. The reverse circuit is completely different. So it's a really tough challenge for all of the competitors here around the course. And that's exactly what we signed up for. The Ares Sport team then have only done 4 pit stops, and they are 2 laps clear of the Ares Pro team, who have done 6. And if you imagine for a moment that is obviously sounding fairly dominant, but let's not forget the fact that Ares Sport have done 4 pit stops. The second crew behind them have done 6, and a pit stop here is a minimum of 2 minutes. So essentially, they've got 4 minutes advantage before they've even equaled with pit stops. So it's going to be a very tricky battle for Ares Sport to hold on to this, even though they've got a 2-lap advantage, and even though they are 2 pit stops in arrears. They've got to make that back later on in the race, and all sorts of things can go on. So yes, a lead of 2 laps is big now, but when you've got 24 hours to go, which we now have, by the way, it's going to be very tough to hold on to. So well done, folks. You have made it through the first 6 hours of the 30 hours of Karting Campillos. Guess what? 24 hours to go. A full day and a night of racing still to come. Just an insane schedule. A really tough challenge. But hey, everybody's done a 6-hour, everybody's done a 12-hour, everyone's done a 24-hour, right? 30 hours takes a real nutcase. Unfortunately, we've got over 200 of them here this weekend, doing an absolutely fantastic job of doing just that. An absolutely sensational run of nutters here at the circuit at Karting Campillos. It's a very different challenge. But the rotation of the karts, which means that no driver gets into the same kart twice, and everybody's going to have a really tough strategy of it when we get to the nighttime phase. Plus, coupled with the fact that looking over behind the wind turbines, the race is going to have another sting in the tail by the look of it, because those clouds are starting to get quite thick, quite grey, and quite ominous. I've got a feeling that rain is on the way. You've made it past the first 6 hours, folks, and we are 24 hours away from the flag. So 6 hours in to the 30 hours of Karting Campillos. The Ares Sport team currently has a 2-lap advantage, but also a 2 pit stop advantage over the Ares Pro team. But get this, driver is currently running in 3rd position, in front of the team from Portugal, the Asphalt Knights, in 4th. Then we have the team from Essing Auto Racing Pro in 5th, ahead of the team from Track Limits Sport, the Portuguese wing, in 8th place. Team Start, Track Limits from France, Team TF leading the Masters category, and the Benecarts in 10th position in front of Mold Racing, Sally's, Astor Celta, Gariatia, Yanama Fan Racing, BKRT in 16th, ahead of DTS, Essing Auto Racing Old Boys, CVK, Savarcar, and Grisa Racing in the top 20. The field is completed by MRT Motorsport, EDK Endurance, the WRW and WRW2 squad, the 2 teams from Belarus, absolutely bolted together. KST1 in front of Choftrans Friend Kart from the Czech Republic, FH Auto for Denmark, Mold Racing, Mamdi Karting for Belgium, Sally's 2 from Denmark, Full Gas by BKRT, Go-Kart San Bernardo and PLK Endurance, the 2 British teams, the AA and Northwest Karting, PLK Sport in 36th, the Ares Team Twins, Ares Master ahead of Ares Racing, and then Atomize Your Life ahead of Amelia Racing. And the gap between first and 40th is only 15 laps, compared to the fact that it's only been 6 hours of racing, and the gap is 15 laps. Still all to play for. Anything can still change. Anything is still possible to happen here at the fabulous Kartcenter Campillos. This 30-hour race has already been pretty exciting, and it's only going to get better from here. 24 hours to go.
5, 4, 3, 2. Kartcenter Campillos, it's a three-way track, and everyone